Hey YouTube, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to part 9 of my WPL C34 build mod upgrade series. This part is about electronics install, about receiver and speed controller ESC. It's been a while since my last video, but I ran into some issues. I found a place for the ESC and I will show how I did this to you today. So, where did I place my ESC? Check this out. And additionally to the ESC, I mounted one of those small voltage control units and made a push button to be able to see how strong or how much voltage or how full the battery still is. So, what were my problems and what did I do? So what were the issues I ran into and why did it take me so long to install my electronics? Well, as you've probably seen, I installed those rock sliders on my C34 and I intended to mount the electronics on those rock sliders. So the receiver on one side and the ESC on the other side. But I wanted to use a larger ESC, so I didn't want to use one of those 10 to 20 amp ESCs we all have, and I also use a lot the red ones, the blue ones. I also do have brown ones, and the new Dumbo Tambora CESC. They are fine, but I use them more in 1 to 24th cars, and in this big car I wanted to use a real ESC with a good and a little stronger BSC. And I do have quite a lot of larger ESCs, brushed ESCs here. The Hobby King X car 45 amp, it's really a nice and cheap ESC. The Surpass Hobby, the new Crawler ESC, the Racer Star 60 amp Crawler ESC I bought recently, the Hobby King 1060, the 1080, and I also do have a 1040 somewhere. Anyway, all those were a little bit too large to be mounted on the rock slider and below the seat. It were only some millimeters. So I would have had to either use one of those small ones below the seat, or I would have to remove the box of the ESC. What's very difficult on all of those, because they are glued to the bottom and they are kind of waterproofed. In the Hobby King X car it's possible, I did it already in my T90. But anyway, I did not want to do this, and so I had to find a new position. This is the position I always thought, why does WPL waste such a lot of room? Here's really a ton of room. You see a huge battery, that's a 1050 milliamp 3S battery I put inside, and also below the hood, in between hood and servo, there's a lot of space. And I always thought, why do they waste such a lot of room? Check this out. That's the bottom part which comes in between the frames. A stock servo is inside, and the upper part, the motor part. So here's this lot of space or room that's left, and here check the ESC I finally used. If you put it on the servo, it's not higher as the original hood. So why not use this space for mounting the ESC? Probably some of you guys did already do this. That's the original, that's the bottom part with the original stock servo. You know I use the JX servo and upgrade servo. And that's the ESC I finally chose. Why did I choose this ESC? That's the Racer Star or whatever brand 60 amp Crawler ESC, and you can see it here, hopefully. It comes in this box, 60 amp ESC. Why did I buy this ESC? Well, because it was so cheap. On Banggood they sell one for $10.80 and two for, I ordered two for $15.40. And this ESC is totally programmable. You need a program card. You will have to buy separately, but I did already have this program card from the Surface Hobby Crawler ESC, and it looked exactly the same, and probably all those ESCs are more or less the same, and it finally turned out it works too. You can program this ESC to your liking. That's really nice. A lot of options. You can program different strengths of drag, brake, starting force, and all this stuff. There's only one slight disadvantage: you cannot switch off the brake function, so you cannot go directly from forward to reverse as we like it to do it in crawlers. But anyway, I paid 15 bucks for two, and I only bought them to try them out, and now I use one in my C34. For this little money you can't really go wrong, but yeah, you need a program card, what's probably a little disadvantage. What I want to show you is the huge variety of batteries that you are able to use if you remove this wall and use the whole compartment for batteries or for battery and receiver, and mount the ESC on another place. So here, that's the largest battery, or one of the largest I've mounted. That's a 3S 1050 milliamp battery, and it works. I have quite a ton of those 800 to 1000 or 1050 milliamp hours batteries, 3S, for my Oxy 2 helicopters, and they all fit. So that's the biggest one, but also this one, 1000 milliamp hours SLS Extron 3S battery, and all of those cubes, SLS Cube 3S 850 milliamp, they all work and fit nicely. There's such a lot of room inside. You won't believe that, I don't plug it in now, that it closes nicely. So, and of course, smaller batteries, if you want to go 3S, that's a Turnigy 3S 800 milliamp hours battery, fits easily and nicely. And most of you want to go 2S, that's probably one of the batteries. That's a good choice. I do have an XT30 plug now in my WPL C34, and I would have to adapt the plugs on this old 1000 milliamp hours Turnigy battery. There is still a red JST plug, but they fit perfectly and easily. Check this out, how much room there is left. And even this large 1300 milliamp hours 2S battery will fit. So that's a Turnigy. I do have XT60 plugs, and of course you should use smaller plugs and shorten the wire or the cable to use it. But check this out. I'm really happy how this worked out, and I don't know why WPL did use all this space only for a hood, because it would have been easy to mount, to make a place for ESC or even receiver mounting on top of the servo, because there's such a lot of room. And of course, guys, you can use those small 370 milliamp hours 3S batteries if you want to use the right part of the compartment for something else, or 2S 500 milliamp, or what is it, for 60. You can use two of those, or SLS 450 I use in my smaller helicopters. So huge variety. If you mount the ESC in front or somewhere else, you probably even wouldn't have to cut the compartment here, because the smaller batteries fit easily, and you could or can, and probably a lot of you have done this, put your receiver on the right side. This is a FlySky 3-channel receiver, therefore you would have to cut the compartment a little bit here for the antenna, and for the Dumbo or Dumbo RC 6-channel receiver you even wouldn't have to cut a little spot for the antenna. So You can use this place for the receiver and the small compartment for the battery, and even a larger battery like this 800 milliamp hours battery 3S will still fit. But I did not, as you know, mount the receiver here. As you see, I mounted the receiver on one of my rock sliders, and I wanted to show you how I did this now. So took the canopy off now, and as you can see, I mounted all the interior to the canopy before test fitting to be sure that everything will work with this mess of wires and ESC in front, and everything works nicely. Here you see my ESC. I mounted it on one of my rock sliders. The other rock slider will probably take my light controller. I will mount to my WPL C34, and that's the front part. And you see there's a lot of wiring inside. Wiring was quite a mess, I have to admit. I swear a lot. But if you would not use this voltmeter and the additional push button for the voltmeter, wiring would be much easier. I used 18 gauge wire for motor and battery, what should be sufficient for those small motors. And since this ESC is also kind of waterproof and anyway glued to the box, and it's not that easy to remove the interior, the electronic part, from the plastic part, I cut the wires and soldered carefully the 18 gauge wires, and I directly soldered the wires to the motor, because inside here I did not have any room for any plugs anymore. And you see below there's not a lot of space or room. The wires are quite short out of the box. And here in the bottom compartment I used those openings for the screws and the tabs of the servos to run the wires. So in this area on the sides of the servo you can run the wires. I did not mount the ESC directly onto the servo. As you have seen in my servo upgrade video, I used a small piece of plastic of styrene and screwed it in place here to fix the servo, and the ESC is only fixed that way though, so there's a little slit here what should probably be able to aerate, but anyway I don't expect any heat problems here. Finally, I did not glue the ESC to any place and did not screw it to any place, because it sits perfectly that way, and it is held by the cover. I cut it out exactly in size and it's fixed really firmly and nicely. What I did do, I cut this front part, only this part of the cover of the ESC, to be able to run the wires lower, in a lower position. I don't know if this was necessary or not. And what did I further use? I used one of those small and super cheap and super nice voltmeters. Yeah, it's only a gadget, nobody needs this, but it's nice to see the voltage of the battery and to be able to estimate how long you can drive your car. And of course this voltmeter is connected directly to the battery and not to the BSC of the ESC, so it's connected to the battery in wire. And if I would not have made this tiny push button here, the voltmeter would have shown the voltage of the battery all the time, even if the ESC is switched off, and therefore I mounted such a tiny small push button here, and I changed the on-off switch of the ESC. The wire is too short, so I cut the wire and I used a different type of switch. I used such a small switch I had, which fits perfectly in place here on the bottom side. I hope it's strong enough. We will see. Yeah, that's it. A lot of wiring, but guys, You do not have to make or use such a voltmeter. It's only a gadget, and it was really not that easy. Wiring was really difficult. If you would make this construction without voltmeter and push button, it will be much easier. What also was difficult, this plastic of the top cover of the motor, of the WPL plastic motor, the fake motor, it's nearly impossible to glue this plastic, or I was not able to glue. I tried a lot of different glues. I tried the Tamiya plastic glue, did not work. I tried the fantastic E6000, it's like sugar, it's a fantastic glue for Lexan or whatever plastic, but it did not work. And of course I tried normal super glue and it did not work. And I tried epoxy and it did not work, so I don't know how to glue this plastic. Anyway, I was able to do all this stuff without gluing, only with press fit, even kind of press fit of this push button. And so far I'm really very happy because everything works perfectly. Yeah, that's it, guys. 11.2 volt. This battery has still 11.2 volts, so I should probably change it soon. But anyway, it's on storage mode. And as you can see, everything works nicely. Switch off, switch on. What's quite funny, even if you unplug the battery, you see, no battery, no nothing. The voltmeter will work shortly. So there is some voltage inside, some capacitors or whatever of the voltmeter or of the ESC. So that's it, guys. This was my electronic installation in my WPL C34. ESC, front, battery in the big compartment. It would be easy to use a medium-sized battery and the receiver if you put the ESC in front position. I put my receiver on one of my rock sliders, and now I can mount my light controller, my Laneboys RC light controller, and do all the lighting. So I'm now finished only with the chassis. Still didn't do the tires and still did not do the body. I will sand it, I will paint it, I for sure will make a dashboard lighting. I don't know if there is enough room to make a moving steering wheel or not. I fear this will be not easily be possible in this car because the space, the room here is limited. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. So finished with electronics. Next video will probably be the painted body or the tires. I hope I could give you some ideas how to solve the problem of the tiny space WPL gave us for battery, ESC and receiver. You see, there are quite a lot of options. Make your rock sliders out of plastic, out of metal. It's easy, not difficult. Remove a part of this front plate. You cannot remove the whole plate because those holes are needed to mount the canopy. And put your ESC or your receiver or even your battery here in front, because under the hood there's a lot of room. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. I'll be back.